My guest tonight was at the Supreme Court for more than 2 decades. In fact, at the point he had acted consistently as a Chief Justice and he's become the oldest judge on the bench for a long time. But for most people, his rise to fame is rarely connected to that 2012-2013 election petition when he was the president of that particular bench. I know now you know who I'm talking about. Justice Atuguba. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are doing well.
I also hope so.
So it's a very fantastic response from you. Now, you left the judiciary in 2018.
Yeah.
After so many years, what do you do with your time now?
That's a difficult question because when you are in service, you work to a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
When you are out of service, everything is at large. Well, briefly, I'm not the outgoing type. No, so often I'm at home, except if I have to go and attend to something somewhere.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yes. Or to church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just at home. Relating to a point raised by a point of criticism raised by one Frank Davis.
Yes.
He's a private legal practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying that
he's also the head of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of the NPP.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. And his point is that you misjudged, misconstrued.
Yes.
And the exact word he also used was that you skewed the judgment of Gyakye Quayson.
Yes, and what was his standpoint? He was saying that I said the same case had been determined on the merits by the High Court, and therefore the Supreme Court ought not to re-adjudicate.
Yes.
That's why, luckily, I've brought this printout. This ruling dated 13th April 2022 by the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And that was the time the plaintiff in the Gyakye Quayson case came to the Supreme Court asking for an interim. He filed a writ that this man was still holding himself out as MP, if I recollect well, and wanting an interim injunction to restrain him. Now, in that ruling, let me read out.
Okay, yes. No problem.
Introduction. This Kulendi JSC.
Yeah.
He read the majority opinion. Let me go straight to the point where it is shown that the High Court determined the matter on its merits. The judgment of the High Court marked Exhibit NAN2. Do you follow that?
I get you.
This is a quotation from, but I don't want to bore you with lengthy this thing, but that alone. What does it show you? What do you understand by that? Okay, let's go a bit backwards so that background.
Okay.
The application under consideration is anchored on a writ with the applicant caused to be issued on the 24th of January 2022, invoking the original jurisdiction of this court for the following reliefs. 1, a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 94, Clause 2, Paragraph A of the Constitution 1992 of the Republic of Ghana, at the time of filing his nomination form between 5th to 9th October 2020 to contest the 2020 parliamentary elections for the Asin North constituency, the first defendant was not qualified as a member of parliament. 2, 2, a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 94, 2, Clause A of the Constitution 1992 of the Republic of Ghana, the decision of the second defendant to permit the first defendant to contest parliamentary elections in the Asin North constituency when the third defendant owed allegiance to a country other than Ghana is inconsistent with and violates Article 94, 2A of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, 1992. 3, a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 94, 2A of the Constitution, 1992 of the Republic of Ghana, the election of the first defendant as Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency was unconstitutional. 4, a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 94, 2A of the Constitution 1992 of the Republic of Ghana, the swearing in of first defendant as Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency was unconstitutional, null and void, and of no legal effect. 5, any further orders and all directions as the court may deem fit to give effect or enable effect to be given to the orders of the court, unquote. Then the relevant antecedents to this application can be summarized from processes filed as follows. The first respondent was elected. First respondent is Gyakye Quayson. Okay. Was elected Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency on December 7, 2020. After the election of the first respondent, the applicant on 30th December 2020 petitioned the High Court Cape Coast and contended that at the time of the filing of parliamentary nomination forms by the first respondent, he held Canadian citizenship and was therefore in violation of Article 94, 2A of the Constitution and other electoral laws. The applicant sought various declaratory reliefs: an order annulling the election, perpetual injunction, restraining the first respondent from holding himself out as Member of Parliament elect for the Asin North constituency, and an order directed at the third respondent to conduct fresh parliamentary elections in the Asin North constituency. On 6th January 2021, the High Court granted an interlocutory injunction restraining the first respondent from holding himself out as the Member of Parliament elect for the Asin North constituency within the Central Region, and further from presenting himself to be sworn in as Member of Parliament for Asin North constituency as such until the final determination of the substantive petition filed against him by the applicant. A copy of this ruling is attached to the applicant's affidavit in support of this application as Exhibit MAN3. Subsequently, on 28 July 2021, the High Court gave judgment after trial in favor of the applicant and declared the election of the first respondent as null, void, and of no legal effect whatsoever. Further, the High Court granted an order of perpetual injunction against the first respondent from holding himself out as a Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency. Aggrieved by the judgment of the High Court, the first respondent appealed to the Court of Appeal Cape Coast, seeking to set aside the judgment of the High Court. It is against this background that the applicant commenced the present suit and has mounted this application, deposing at paragraphs 7, 8, and 9. These are for the interlocutory injunction. So, but you've seen?
I get your point.
Yes. So, I don't know. This is our country. This is not my work. I can forward this ruling to you online. You can read it a million times.
The suggestion was that perhaps you had not read the judgment, so
yes,
you were being misled by other people into thinking that the judgment was not in tandem with the principles that you actually espoused.
Well, I wish you were here. My point, and that's sufficient for the point I was making, that the Supreme Court, finally they gave judgment on the matter, still declaring that at the time he filed, Gyakye Quayson filed his nomination papers. He was a Canadian citizen, he was not qualified.
Yeah.
And the Electoral Commission erred in, so his election was null and void. I have that judgment.
Yeah.
So what is the difference? It declared the judgment in the terms of this High Court judgment, the relevant parts I've quoted to you.
Mm-hmm.
I have that judgment. I can bring it to you.
No, I get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatever. You see, look, one thing, that's why some of us don't move around, and the kind of politics that has entered some people's minds and changes their systems to such an extent that there's no respect for truth, morality, fear of God, anything, except to attain a political objective, fair or foul. This is the kind of mindset that leads to these sort of things. Mm. And I'm seriously against that. That is the trust of my life. Mm. Yes.
So you were not skewed? You did not misjudge?
Where? I mean,
you did not misconstrue?
At all. At all. Well, all I was saying was that they purported to re-adjudicate the same case which the High Court had adjudicated. Mm-hmm. In law, you don't determine the same matter all over again, twice. Mm-hmm. The same parties, the same issues. You know? And I think he was trying to say that their rate in the Supreme Court was about interpretation. Mm-hmm. That's why I say that judgment, bring it. They went the whole terrain from the time he filed his papers to the time of the election, and the declaration in his favor that he was elected. They went all over that and came to the conclusion that since at the time of filing, between 5th and 9th October 2020, he had not received his certificate of renunciation of Canadian citizenship, he could not have been accepted to contest, and therefore his election was null and void. That is, so I don't know what this man is trying to say. Well, I don't want to use Ashland normally. Yeah.
I get your point. It just sounded to many people that he believes and he's of the view that, no, you got it wrong. You probably did not know what you were talking about. And that you had not spent as much time. And he kept on insisting that people should read the judgment and that you had not spent as much time perusing it, mindful of your competence in the law.
I'll bring that judgment. I have it. I can bring it.
But is it that people do not understand or we do these things deliberately?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, look, I don't like to talk about people, but try to know a bit about the political background of people when they are talking on issues.
Okay. And
you can see whether that background influences and directs what they say. I may be wrong. I've been a private lawyer and a judge for many years. Politics, I went into it very briefly and opted out because of the nature of it.
I see.
I've said this on platforms before. Now, look.
So which party were you presented there?
That time it was called Popular Front Party, which is now the, yes.
That's part of the NPP's antecedents, right?
Yeah.
From the UP, then the front divided, right. The UNC and the PFP came in. Yes.
That's it.
So you were on the PFP side?
PFP.
Oh, that's interesting.
Victor Usu was our...
Yes.
That was the time.
Okay.
Yes. And...
so ideologically you are NPP?
Not now.
Oh, no, I'm talking about ideologically.
After
you are center right.
When you say ideologically,
it didn't matter at the time.
No, at that time I was.
Oh, center right.
But when I moved out, that was the end of it.
Oh, okay.
So.
But your ideas are not center right.
My ideas, I don't know these terms too much, but My idea.
As your ideological leaning.
No, I'm coming. Let me tell you. Then you can subsume.
Oh, okay.
Mine is pro-good governance for the interests of the people. Whatever system is doing that, that's mine.
That's okay with you?
Yes.
No, I get the point, because some people,
to that extent.
Yeah. Now, of course, I mean, the conversations moved on.
Yeah.
But you made some very critical questions.
Yeah.
You raised some very critical questions about how the judiciary is functioning in the whole.
Yeah.
You talked about the perceived bias.
Yes.
You also talked about the independence and the pressures that are put on the independence.
Yes. Yes.
Now, the Afrobarometer report says, in fact, if you believe the CDD's Afrobarometer, the trust in the judiciary is at an all-time low. How can we rebuild that trust in the judiciary? What can be done immediately to deal with that problem?
Well, it's a constitutional problem.
Is it the appointment part?
Yes, the appointment process. As I explained in my presentation, you want the judiciary to be independent. The Constitution states so. Nonetheless, on the Judicial Council, which recommends justices to be appointed, so you have the Attorney General and 4 nominees of the President sitting there, taking part in the proceedings as to who should be presented for appointment to the Supreme Court. Where is the independence of the judiciary? We have the executive so strongly present there. And that's why I quoted a passage from that table. I said, with those people, they can influence the course of the appointment. And that's political influence.
Okay, that's an interesting development.
Oh, yes.
Because you do recall that there was a time that Professor Raymond Atuguba had raised the issue to do with who appointed who and how they ended up voting, essentially. And you judges were up in arms against him.
I remember I wasn't there. But if I was there, I probably would have come. Well, when I talk, they will simply say, because it's
you are related to him. No, but the substance of the matter is what you're raising.
Yes.
How then do we deal with this? Should we remove the president's appointees from their judicial committee, judicial council?
Oh, yes. What are they there for? The separation of powers. Executive should be separate from the judicial arm so that they are independent, can do their work freely. Then you bring them there to police their appointments from the beginning. Is that how to achieve an independent judiciary? And apart from that, you see, if you look at the present structure of the Judicial Council, you have the Chief Justice as chairman. You have a representative of the Supreme Court and the various other lower courts. I think the magistrates and secretaries, they have one representative. But the other courts, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, they have a representative each. You have the Judge Advocate General from the Armed Forces. You have the Director of the Police Legal Directorate. You have the Editor of the Law Reports. You have 2 members of the Bar Association. And then you have these 4 presidential nominees and the Attorney General. This is the composition. Now, if you look at it realistically, who can stand up to a Chief Justice who wants to do the President's bidding? I mean, just for the sake of argument. Who can stand up to him? Is the Attorney General and the 4 nominees? They will certainly try to push for the President, isn't it?
I get your point, but would it be fair?
Coming.
Okay.
As for the other members, 2 members of the bar, it also depends on their inclinations. There are only 2 anyway. And then, apart from the representative of the Supreme Court, it also depends on how he stands in relation to the Chief Justice. If it's not independent-minded, he may like always to side with the Chief Justice. As for the others, they are below the Chief Supreme Court, so, their promotion and all those things depend on.
So is it fair when someone suggests that the courts are not balanced and that the courts are consistently being packed? Is it fair?
I would say consistently, because, okay, let's take it from 1992. 7 January 1993.
Forgive me, but I'm talking about more recent phenomena. And the person I'm trying to quote here is the former President Mahama, who says that we should be seeking to balance the courts, not only because it's not balanced, but also because a lot more people who are lawyers within the NDC should be interested in getting on the the bench. Is it a fair assessment of the structure of the court? Mindful of what you just told me.
Well, I think in a broad sense, yes, because you see, the courts belong to the public.
Yeah.
That thing should never be lost sight of. See, everything in the state belongs to the people. Every other person in any position is a trustee for the people.
Yeah.
And so the people, that's why court proceedings are held in public, so that the public can follow the proceedings and assess things for themselves, see how justice is administered, whether it's fair or not. And so, there's a big public outcry about the nature of the Supreme Court as it stands. They feel that it's politically tilted to the MPP. You are a media man. I think you can see a lot of those sentiments expressed on social media. That's why to the extent they call them unanimous FC.
Is it fair?
Well, I'm coming. Well, the point I'm making is when the public loses confidence or they start complaining, you don't just push it aside, because when nothing is happening, they won't do that. They won't do that. Why is it that they were not having that impression of raising those flags earlier on?
And there is an all-time low. Trust is at an all-time low.
I'm coming. So, on the whole, but the National Security Minister also even came out to talk on this point.
Yes, he said that it's not good for security of the nation.
Okay.
That courts are seen to be given a judgment that's unanimous. Okay. I mean, that's the right word to use, actually.
Okay. So, you see, public perception in your private estimation may be right or wrong, but it has effect all the same.
So who should deal with it?
I'm coming. So when it has effect, you try to diffuse that effect. Well, as I said, those sentiments don't arise out of a vacuum. And to win the public confidence, they must feel that the judgments are sound and not politically jaundiced. And so if there's a big outcry like this, something has to be done about it. You see, the bad thing about this country, something bad is happening for political reasons. They would like to push it under the carpet. No, nothing so and so and so. They did it when the cry about corruption was rising and rising. What happened? When Anas went in, what happened?
They found judges.
My cousin and 2 or 3 others, when they raised it, the courts banned them.
Yeah, they were prevented from practicing.
Shortly after that, what happened? That's where...
In the investigations reviewed that some were taking all the other things.
Clearly.
Judicial corruption scandal was reviewed.
Clearly. That's why when it doesn't pay to gamble with the truth, why it will surface and can cause damage.
Now,
so, on the whole, that perception, is there. I didn't cause it, but it's there. And so Mahama can talk about it. The only point where I disagree with him is he should have gone further to say that you, the NDC lawyers, should be getting ready. Those who are experienced and independent-minded, so that they come and will not give the same impression.
Okay.
But if it is just politically balancing the equations, that's not helpful. Then why don't you leave this? Is it just because you also want the opportunity to to do the same thing?
Or influence the judiciary?
That doesn't advance anything.
I get your point.
Yes.
Now, we're talking about unanimous FC.
Yes.
That's a terrible title, isn't it?
Well, I didn't create it.
I get your point, but
Yes.
my point is, how do we, is it fair to the judiciary that we only take some key cases and use it to brand them as always ruling in a particular direction?
But how do you assess, so do you take the minor things to assess any situation? You go for the minor things. Now, those are not the things which affect the national system of operation.
But is it even justified criticism, in all fairness?
That's why I'm saying that I'm not the public.
Yes.
The public are entitled to their views. I'm not the public. But that is what is
What
there.
they are thinking about.
They are strongly convinced of it.
Now, let me raise an issue with you that's very recent.
And I'm saying that it has to be dealt with because just like the corruption thing that was being swept under the carpet, so and so, people vanished. What happened?
When the expose brought it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, a recent controversy
Yes.
was when people had filed petitions against the EC
Yes.
on an injunction they were seeking.
Yes.
And the Chief Justice, we are told that the register could not settle because the Chief Justice was out of town. And that she had to wait. When she came, the settling was after the registration exercise.
Well, you see, in that scenario, even as a layman, how do you find it?
It was surprising to some of us because we have not seen that happen.
Good.
Perhaps because we're not also legal officers who had also been in the courts consistently.
Yeah, but if it was something that could be fairly done or properly done, why is it that it was never happened?
What has been the standard practice?
No, it's not a question of practice. Article 1, 446 or so, the Constitutional Organization related to it. It's clear. And that I've dealt with that in my speech also. That when in the absence of the Chief Justice, or if the Chief Justice is unable to act for any reason, the most senior justice acts until the Chief Justice is able to resume the functions. That is a clear constitutional provision. And in Masi, when you read it, I said, look, some Chief Justices, Africa, this thing is there, but they will look among the judges and think that, these are close to me, the others maybe are pro here, and so if the most senior is not close to him or her, some of them, when they are traveling, they will sweep and hand over secretly to somebody who is not the most senior, but close to them, to be running affairs.
Okay.
Yes. And even if they will give things to the next person, they are just inconsequential things, petty things, you see. And I noticed, look, Redu suffered that thing, Redu, before he became Chief Justice. Whenever Aban traveled, I didn't want to mention it, but let's do it for clarity. His cousin Ampia was virtually the acting Chief Justice in his absence.
And not the next senior most.
Redu was the next most senior. He was always silent. Okay. And I remember vividly, on one occasion, Redu thought this was too much. There was the annual judges conference, and it's normally addressed by the Chief Justice, flanked by the Justice of the Supreme Court. And Ampia was going to do it. Redu went in there and said, no, he is the next most senior, he is to do this. And I think Ampia had a speech for him too. He said, no, he will read his own speech.
I see.
For that.
Except in this case, the subsequent justification is that this was during break. This was during the judicial break.
Yes.
So that case could not be listed during the judicial break.
Oh, I don't think so. Don't you have vacation judges in the High Court? Vacation, urgent matters can be dealt with during vacation. That's a settled practice of the legal system. Urgent matters. And even, I think I never do, there were vacation, Court of Appeal vacation judges, he even introduced that. It's not illegal to sit during the vacation. And even with the consent of the parties, you can try a substantive case during the vacation.
Even at the Apex Court?
Oh, why not? It's the same rule. It's not the same vacation.
Is it possible the rules have changed?
Well, I've left since, as I've told you, I've closed my mind. So.
I get you, because that's what we're told.
Yes.
Now, I need to fast-pace this conversation.
Yes.
The other points that have been raised in there is that you basically took a mirror to the judiciary and tried to show it as having so many defects that ought to be fixed.
Yes.
Which is fine and all good.
I don't know.
But some say, even when you were a part of the judiciary, it was not perfect.
Oh, but, I mean, it's a strange thing to hear. So we shouldn't strive for perfection? Is that the implication? That's a serious argument to make? No, the judiciary is to be partially independent or wholly independent?
Of course, wholly is our aspiration. Now, the argument then is that it's because you are not in there, that is why you are criticizing it, and that it's not proper for a former judge to be doing that kind of criticism.
Not proper?
Yes.
Who says it's not proper? What is there to say that I cannot?
And
don't I have freedom of expression under the Constitution?
And these current colleagues of yours or previous colleagues of yours, you could have engaged them on some of these pertinent issues without making it public, or perhaps subjecting them to...
Why not? That's the trouble I stand against. Sweeping important matters from the public eye when they are the owners of the institution, to hide things from them. For what reason? Are you the owner of the institution or the people? They should know the facts concerning their institution. I don't like these kinds of things.
Interesting. Now, reflection. I mean, you've been in this country for quite too long for you understand the judiciary more than most people in this. What can we do beyond the Supreme Court changes that you just suggested to make sure that our judiciary is trusted more? What can we do?
Well, what can you do is an institutional question. But as I said in my presentation, and quoted from that paper, institutional independence is different from personal independence. If you don't take care to look critically at people's backgrounds and their moral and whatnot standings, and you bring them there and say, some are ready to pander to the wishes. I mean, the provision is there, giving them the independence.
Because people have complained about the kind of judges we are appointing now.
Well, some of them, of course. Like I quoted from 69, when almost the most junior High Court judge was brought to the Supreme Court over and above Azukrab and Co. And Azukrab, Apalu, they were the most seniors. They became, I think, the fourth and fifth on the order of seniority. And they brought the equivalent as a circuit court judge to be Chief Justice over them. That was because the Salah case. Azukrab wasn't even on that panel, but of course, because he belonged to the same class or time with Apalu, probably therefore. You know, this sort of thing, they start today. It's only, I saw stars, unless it's treated, it will fester and fester and fester and
become worse by the day.
Every day, people have money emergencies.
Mom, I need my school fees.
Emergency.
Mommy,
chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Kwajo, why are you late?
Yes, Kojo. Why are you late again?
Kwajo.
Can't you talk? See, Mommy, I could lie like Amma and say I was doing my homework with my friends. Or lie like Amma and say I was helping Grandma buy food. Mommy, I will not lie like Amma. I was playing with my friends, and that is why I'm late.
Homework now. Thank you for not lying to me. Your calipo is in the fridge.
Calipo, the natural fruit juice drink.
Abby, you know that.
This advert is FDA approved.
Praise, yeah, baby.
Clap your hands and give the dance unto the Lord. Hallelujah.
Do praise, yeah, baby.
Nephi, it's my calipo inside the feet. Don't touch it, okay? Fifi, it's my calipo inside the feet. Don't touch it, okay?
Don't worry, darling. I won't touch your calipo, okay?
Okay.
Papa. Should I listen for you?
It's okay, Grandma. You can drink it all.
Oh, coffee. I brought plenty for you. You know that.
Calipo, the natural fruit juice drink. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the
We have decent men in Ghana.
Oh, sure. But I've extolled some of them.
Yes, I get you.
I couldn't get the full list. Oh, yes. They are there. But they don't have the power. That's always the trouble. But I have confidence in these bodies. Is it Fix the Country or what? I think I listed some of them.
Okay.
And I don't know most of them, but a lot of them that I listed, I took them from, they brought the action against Dominicos.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I saw.
So those are the people that you actually picked up.
And it means that they are committed to that extent that they can go to the Supreme Court and challenge. And that's what should be happening.
A lot of that.
And when you have a strong and independent-minded court, oh yes, a lot of these things can be upheld. With time, people will know that they can't be that powerful. And that is the Constitution which rules everybody. And then things will fall into that.
I had an engagement with Justice Atuguba.
Yes.
It was an interesting conversation. The tail end of it, she told me that she speaks out more now because of the the need.
Yes.
Because she feels that her generation has disappointed the younger generation and that they should try and correct the ways or make sure that things are done right now. Do you have a similar feeling?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And that's why I said we have to restructure, everything. Restructuring is with that intent to make things go well. And when that is happening, the people grow up into it, and they think and live in it, But when it is like this, look, young people are out there. I mentioned it at the lecture. Some are having very good qualifications. They are looking for jobs. What happens? Is the army recruitment police? We know what happens. Protocol. Somebody is not fit. He goes in because he's connected to somebody high up. Somebody is tomorrow. Can't get. How can you run a healthy system this way? How can the people be happy?
Corruption.
And then the youth, when they become dejected and they feel that, this is the only way, they're also going to become cultural practice now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If you are looking for somebody, you look for somebody who can.
And you continue that wrongdoing. Fight against corruption and the fight against illegal mining, that's Galamsey.
Yes.
From where you sit,
yes.
Are we doing well? Our current fight?
Well, it's a large terrain. You can't know where and where these things are happening and to what extent they've been brought down and to what extent they are still happening. But that's why sometimes I like your TV station. I hardly watch TV, but one day a friend of mine, the one I play cards with, so he put it on. And then Joy FM was there. And there was a feature program on this Galamsey.
Yeah.
And I like the person who spoke on it. He didn't sweep the facts under the carpet. He said, it's still going on in the areas were portrayed. The deep excavations and whatnot. He even went as far as to say that they've been, I think, destroying some excavators or impounding them or something. But there are no-go areas. And he mentioned, it's your own program, you can go and cross-check. So one excavator or one mining area belonged to some politician. And there they can't go. It's your own thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I don't know in how many places, but the chiefs complain a lot, and the chiefs are spread all over again. So it means it's still a big problem. Yeah. And, that's a big worry to me. Because what does it mean? That the whole Ghanaian state is unable to eradicate this menace. It hasn't got the capacity. Can you imagine that?
Shocking.
Yeah. How possible? You have the army, you have the police. They can't put down this menace. The whole state of Ghana, wonderful. Let me confess, when I was on the bench, and this thing, as I was on the bench, I was having, but one day I was going to Kumasi, and I used to hear that, the water bodies are
polluted, yeah.
Then on the way to Kumasi, I saw some river flowing as a tunnel or something. Clear. Wasn't water.
The color.
Yeah. clear. Hey. So when I came, I said, oh, this is a reality. So I started telling my colleagues one time, I said, look, normally judges don't act on their own, but we shouldn't sit down and see the country dying like this. Let us summon the people who should have put down this menace, order them to do it. Well, I didn't get support, but I understand that I was going too far.
That's interesting.
Oh, yes. But because, see, look, the common law is the handiwork of the judges, and it is not static. It is fine-tuned to, redress societal challenges and evils. It's a judge-made law. So, can always, but, step by step,
That's true.
So, I felt that maybe this was going too far. And then my retirement came. So.
Do you think political leadership can fix this problem that I'm saying?
Well, say political leadership.
As in the people in the ministries, the minister for lands, and of course we have ministers, we have mining inspectors, we have regional districts. Those people are put in charge of it to deal with it effectively.
Well, so let me ask you a rhetorical question. So if they were doing this, would it be there? You think it would have been there?
Maybe the president put his presidency on the line.
Yes, a statement is a statement.
And yet it's still happening.
Well, he will be in the best position to explain why, in relation to the statement he made, it's still like that. He's in charge of the security apparatus and all that. I can't give a very proper assessment.
Finally, on corruption.
Yes.
What can we do to step up the fight against corruption? In fact, we have an OSP office already functioning. Yes, or doing some work. We have, if the president says, giving all the money to the relevant institutions of state to do the job that they are supposed to do. That's the independent bodies are supposed to fight corruption. More than ever, they've gotten money to fight it. But if you check our Transparency International rating, we are not making any improvement.
Well, first of all, have you cross-checked whether the funding is actually on the ground?
Okay.
Well, when Martin Amidu was leaving, he said he was financially handicapped in his office. Although they said, was it 80 million CDs had been voted, but he said he was handicapped. So these matters, you can even collect the facts better. I don't have the means. But it's just not funding. It's the real independence of the people in charge. Although people are hard on this OSP, I think he's trying to do well in some way. I think he's trying. Yeah. I don't know the challenges he's facing. I'm not in his office, so I don't know. But I think he's trying. Maybe there are some bottlenecks which he can best explain. But the fact that there is a very big hue and cry about corruption shows that the fight against it hasn't gone far enough. And that's why I say public opinion has to be respected. These perceptions don't just germinate from nowhere. No, people are not mad, just except they are politically jaundiced. Start saying things they don't see or they don't believe in. But, when on the whole, there are so many people, there's a big outcry about something. I've given you the example of the corruption that was alleged and how people were banned from the courts. And what was the fallout?
When the exposure happened.
Yes.
Now, I'm concluding this conversation with the It might be unfair to you because you are retired now.
Yes.
But,
yes.
you know, maybe when you are in active
ask any question.
Because it's important.
Yes.
Now that it is important for people to know how much dollars people have in their bedrooms.
Yes, yes.
That question is equally important to Justice Atuguba.
Yes.
How much have you kept in your bedroom?
You can go in now. Go in now. And I can produce. I had to restrain myself. I think as from last month or so. I've been living on overdraft, top up my pension from month to month.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Former Supreme Court judge?
Yes, but I won't blame it on the state because the pension, I wouldn't say it's too bad. But, you know, in the African context, you come from a family. Mm-hmm. If you are the eye, it's a large family. Mm-hmm. They are major shareholders of your salary. That's what I can say.
We should continue with this conversation in the future. But for now, I'm very grateful for your time this evening.